Hello everyone, welcome to a live stream with me, Anna English from English Like a Native. I'm just going to sup my tea. Today I'm going to accept a challenge. I was challenged to take the ZNO test, the English test. It came out yesterday. Lots of you took the test, and now I'm going to take the test and see how I, as a native, fare against the ZNO. So if you haven't done this test, then why not come through this test with me and see how well you do? And if you have done the test, then it'll be great to go through it again and get an idea of perhaps what you did right, maybe see what I do wrong. I don't know, I'm a bit nervous. But yeah, let's go through this together and see how we do. I'm using a new streaming software, so hopefully this will go well. But if it's a bit dodgy, it's because I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. But let's have a look. So let's open up this test here. So the first task on the ZNO is a listening task. And we get to listen to the recordings twice. I might not need to do it twice, but let's have a look. So it says, listen to the speaker. For questions 1 to 6, choose the correct answer, A, B, or C. Write your answers on the separate answer sheet. You will listen to each recording twice. Okay, so great. Let me just get your comments up here so I can check that you can all see me and hear me all right. Brilliant. So the first question is, what does the speaker like drawing most? And we've got a picture of a sun setting, hair, and lots of birds. So let's listen to that first recording.
My hobby is drawing. I mostly draw pictures of people, animals, and birds. I use crayons, pencils, and colored pencils to draw pictures. I give my best drawings to my nearest and dearest for their birthdays. Once I got the first prize in my school drawing competition. I spend all my free time drawing. For example, I often draw girls with different hairstyles like plaits or ponytails, but I like to draw sunsets best. I do love drawing and dream of becoming an artist one day when I grow up.
Okay, so there was the clue. She talked about all of those things that are pictured. She talked about sunsets, she talked about hairstyles, and she talked about birds. But she said, I like to draw sunsets best. So for the first one, my answer is A. Okay, let's listen to the second one. Now, the question on the second one is, what sport does the speaker do? What sport does the speaker do? So let's have a listen to number 2.
When I was in the 4th grade, I dreamt of becoming a great football player like Messi. My dad thought that for a Canadian, hockey sounded more natural. But my aunt gave me tennis lessons as a birthday present. I learned how to play a new sport, which I love. I might have thought the present was stupid when I was younger, because it wasn't a toy or something, but I absolutely love the sport and can't imagine my life without
it. Interesting. So he got the tennis lessons as a present. So that's the sport that he was actually doing. He thought it was something he wouldn't enjoy, but he did. I'm just going to double check that because he said he dreamt of being a football player. And he mentioned hockey, but I can't quite remember what he said. So let's listen a second time to double check that our answer would be tennis. Let's check.
When I was in the 4th grade, I dreamt of becoming a great football player like Messi.
I dreamt
My dad thought that for a Canadian, hockey sounded more natural.
Dad thought hockey was good.
But my aunt gave me tennis lessons as a birthday present. I learned how to play a new sport, which I love. I might have thought the present was stupid when I was younger, because it wasn't a toy or something, but I absolutely love this sport and can't imagine my life without it.
Okay, perfect. So the answer is C, because he dreamt of being a footballer. His dad thought hockey was more appropriate, but he actually did play tennis. And it says, what sport does the speaker do? There we go. Okay, number 3. The question is, which sandwich will the hotel guests be served? Which sandwich will the hotel guests be served? Let's have a listen.
I'd like to order lunch, please.
What would you like?
I'd like to order a cup of coffee, a tuna sandwich, and a muffin.
I'm sorry, we're currently out of tuna sandwiches. May I suggest a cheese sandwich or a chicken one instead?
I prefer the chicken one.
Anything else? Maybe a salad?
No, thank you.
Okay, no salad. Room service will be charged to your account. Is that all right?
That's fine.
It will be up shortly. Enjoy your food, sir.
Okay, so that one's relatively easy. He wanted a tuna sandwich, but they had no tuna sandwiches. She said, do you want cheese or chicken instead? And he said, I prefer chicken. No salad. There we go. So the answer for number 3 is B. 3B. I'm just making a note of this so I can check my answers later. Okay, so next the question is, what does the speaker complain about? Firstly, having too much homework. Secondly, having lots of extracurriculars. Or thirdly, having little time for sport. Okay, let's have a listen to this one then.
It's fine for you to disagree, but it seems as if you're in the minority. While I admit that there are students who don't do their homework at all, I spend hours on my homework every night, and that doesn't even include my community service and my extracurriculars. Other people on sports teams and other high-commitment activities have even less time to spend on homework, and I can say for a fact that homework is one of the main reasons students aren't getting enough sleep at night.
Okay, so it seems like he's complaining about having too much homework, isn't he? Listen to that one again.
It's fine for you to disagree, but it seems as if you're in the minority. While I admit that there are students who don't do their homework at all, I spend hours on my homework every night, and that doesn't even include my community service and my extracurriculars. Other people on sports teams and other high-commitment activities have even less time to spend on homework, and I can say for a fact that homework is one of the main reasons students aren't getting enough sleep at night.
Okay, I think that's a bit hard, that one, but I'm saying it's going to be, he's complaining about homework, isn't he? He obviously feels he has too much homework, or he spends too much time on his homework. So I'm going to go for A. I hope I'm right. Okay, so the next question is question 5. What is the speaker's occupation? What is the speaker's occupation? This is another word for job. What do they do for a job? Okay, so let's have a look. Let me, switch over here.
Observing a pianist playing can be a powerful emotional experience. As a scientist and a man who used to play the piano at school, I understand that this skill requires complex coordination of many different brain regions. In our lab, we want to understand whether music training during childhood improves brain functions for processing sound. These functions are important for the development of language and reading skills. Over the past 2 decades, several investigators have reported differences in the brain and behavior of musicians compared to non-musicians. Music training has been found to be correlated to better language and mathematical skills and a higher IQ.
Okay. So he said at the beginning, as a scientist, I can't remember what else he said, but he said, as a scientist, this is what I think. So the options here are, what's the speaker's occupation? A pianist, A, a researcher, B, or a teacher, C. Now, he said, I'm a scientist. So scientists aren't pianists or teachers. They're usually researchers. So you have a research scientist, or scientists do research. And so I would say B, researcher. I hope I'm right. Okay. So the next question. I'm sorry about the noise in the background, by the way. If you can hear all that drilling, it's work going on in my garden. We've got a bomb shelter in the garden, which is right next to the room I'm filming here. And the bomb shelter is being clad, meaning they're covering it in wood. So it looks nice. Yeah. Random fact. Okay, question 6. What is Marilyn's main argument in favor of renting a flat in the city? So what is Marilyn's main argument in favor of renting a flat in the city centre? A, the space for parking. B, the facilities for shopping. Or C, the cost of travel. So why is she saying renting a flat in the city is good? Let's have a listen.
Marilyn, I'm thinking of renting an apartment in the city center. You know, I've only lived in the suburbs, so tell me if I'm missing something about living in the city.
Well, Alice, the first thing you need to know is how much you are spending already on trains to get from the suburbs to your job every day. When you take this into account, the city apartment may look like a better option. What else are you thinking about?
Well, I would also like to live within walking distance of shops, restaurants, and parks. And how easy will it be for friends to visit me in terms of parking?
As far as I know, everything closes at 6 p.m., though there are a lot of stores nearby. Parking can also be a problem. Even if you don't own a car, you might get one later. Plus, your visitors might need to park.
Okay, so I would say the answer to that is the cost of travel. She said at the beginning, one thing you have to take into account is the amount of money you're spending coming into the city all the time. And she actually said that there's not much space for parking. So that rules out the first option. So I'd go for C. Number 6, C. I'm going to play that again for you, just so you can hear it a second time.
Marilyn, I'm thinking of renting an apartment in the city center. You know, I've only lived in the suburbs, so tell me if I'm missing something about living in the city.
Well, Alice, the first thing you need to know is how much you are spending already on trains to get from the suburbs to your job every day. When you take this into account, the city apartment may look like a better option. What else are you thinking about?
Well, I would also like to live within walking distance of shops, restaurants, and parks. And how easy will it be for friends to visit me in terms of parking?
As far as I know, everything closes at 6 p.m., though there are a lot of stores nearby. Parking can also be a problem. Even if you don't own a car, you might get one later. Plus, your visitors might need to park.
Okay, so I think I'm right there with C. The cost of travel is the main reason that you would want to live in the city because it will reduce that cost. That was her main reason for living in the city centre. Okay, so we move on to task 2. Now in task 2, it says, I'll bring this up bigger for you. Listen to the text. For statements 7 to 11, choose T if the statement is true according to the text, or F if it is false. Write your answers on a separate sheet. You will listen twice. Okay, so the first statement here says, in Britain, loud fireworks shows are not allowed next to dwellings. Dwellings is another word for like houses or places where people live. Quiet fireworks displays lack color compared to traditional shows. To lack means not to have much of, to lack color. Quiet fireworks were created for mass celebrations. So mass is big, like lots of people. Dogs often get lost after big loud fireworks shows, and people can enjoy sparkling sky shows in complete silence. So those are the statements we have to work out whether they're true or false, and we are going to listen to the text.
Quiet fireworks. It sounds like a joke. Usually those bright bursts of color come with equally impressive bangs, but some fireworks shows are designed to...
Oh, sorry, I don't know why that stopped. Sorry.
Quiet fireworks. It sounds like a joke. Usually those bright bursts of color come with equally impressive bangs, but some fireworks shows are designed to please the eyes without hitting the ears. In parts of Europe, quiet fireworks displays have grown increasingly common. In Britain, places close to residents, wildlife, or farm animals may have only quiet fireworks. Designers of quiet fireworks pay greater attention to the rich color effects and visual choreography, making sure their designs are symmetrical and well-timed to music. Quiet fireworks displays can do without big explosions and still present an impressive show. Of course, there are pros and cons to a quiet fireworks show. Because they do not include big aerial explosions, quiet shows cannot entertain a large audience. As a result, Traditionally big shows, like those on the 4th of July, would need to be divided into smaller viewings. Quiet fireworks can, however, be more colorful when the most explosive fireworks have only a little color. The real promise behind quiet fireworks, however, is the possibility that they could reduce the harmful effects of traditional fireworks, which include stress on animals and damage to people's hearing. Fireworks can cause birds to panic. Loud fireworks also scare larger mammals like deer out into roads where they can get hit by cars. Pet shelters also claim to take in the most runaway dogs each year on July the 5th. Having sensitive hearing, dogs hurt themselves trying to escape or hide. For people, loud fireworks can lead to hearing loss. Fireworks can be as loud as thunderclaps. Young kids can be frightened by nonstop loud noise, as children are especially sensitive to loud noises. Quiet fireworks are not completely silent, but they don't cause problems to people and surrounding. Loud bangs are not everybody's cup of tea.
Okay, that was a long one, wasn't it? Okay, so the statements again. We say, in Britain, loud fireworks shows are not allowed next to dwellings. Now, they did mention Britain specifically, and they did say they may not be allowed. So I'm going to say that statement is true. So 7, true. Number 8, quiet fireworks displays lack color compared to traditional shows. That didn't seem to be the argument. That seemed to be, I would say that's false. They were talking about how effective quiet firework displays can be, very colorful, set to music, fantastic, and very enjoyable. So I would say that the second statement, that they lack color, is false. Number 9, quiet fireworks were created for mass celebrations. They said that wasn't the case, that actually if you had a big celebration like the 4th of July, they'd have to be separated out into smaller displays because they can't display to a large audience all in one go. So I would say that number 9, quiet fireworks were created for mass celebrations, is false. Number 10, dogs often get lost after big, loud firework shows. That's true. He talked about animals, about how it scares animals, dogs, cats, birds. And this is for loud fireworks. So I would say that statement is true. And at the end there, I think it answered the statement, people can enjoy sparkling sky shows in complete silence. I think that one's a little bit tricky, but I'd say that one's false based on what he said at the end, which I can't remember what it was he said at the end. Let me just get that up again.
Noise, as children are especially sensitive to loud noises. Quiet fireworks are not completely silent, but they don't cause problems to people and surrounding. Loud bang.
So you said they're not completely silent. So I would say, because they've used the word completely silent there, they're not completely silent. I say that last statement is false. People can enjoy sparkling sky shows in complete silence. I might be wrong, but I think that one is false because the shows aren't completely silent. So they can enjoy sparkling sky shows with a little bit of noise, but not complete silence. I think that's the trick. I think it's a bit of a trick question, potentially. Okay, so those are my answers. Has anyone got any other thoughts on that particular one? Do let me know. I have got the comments running and I can briefly glance at them. Okay, I'm glad you're all enjoying this. Oh, wow, we've got 111 of you watching. How lovely. Thanks for joining. Okay, so let's move on to task 3 then. So task 3 is another listening task. Listen to the text. For questions 12 to 16, choose the correct answer, A, B, or C. Write your answers on the separate answer sheet. You'll listen twice. Unless I think it's really easy, then I won't let you listen twice. All right, so the first question is, what is said about Carla's first clothes design experience? She designed clothes for a school event. B, her clothes made her popular at school. C, her clothes frightened off her friends. So let's have a listen. Oh, right. Okay. So this is one. This is one audio, and there are 5 questions. Let's have a look at the other questions just to go through them before we listen. What influenced Carlo's desire to become a designer? The contrast in Mexican people's style of clothing, the success of the American fashion industry, the opportunities for fashion business in Mexico City. Why did Carla study in her native country? She could not give up dressmaking in Mexico. She could not afford to study in London. She could not decide on the course abroad. What fashion tendencies does Carla like? People pay more attention to their clothing. People prefer wearing practical clothes. People choose clothes with broad shoulders. What makes a successful fashion designer according to Carla? A good education, a genuine talent, or a professional team? All right, let's have a listen to this one.
Hi, dear listeners. Our today's guest is Carlo Fernandez, a fashion designer from Mexico. Carla, what stimulated your interest in fashion?
I love the power of clothing and the transformative quality of dressing up. When I was very young, maybe 5 years old, I remember dressing up for different events at school, and I took pride in having the best outfit. Later, when I was in high school, I would make my own clothing, which fitted me very badly because I had no idea what I was doing. I made myself trousers. They were way too big, so I would wrap laces around my legs to make them fit. My friends saw me dressed this way and no longer wanted to be seen with me at lunch.
Okay, so that's answering the first question. What is said about Carla's first clothes design experience? She said that I did these crazy things with my clothes and my friends didn't want to sit with me at lunch. So the answer to the first question is her clothes frightened off her friends. Okay, so let me just type this in. 12 is C. Her clothes frightened off her friends. Let's carry on. Oh, no.
That experience also made me realize the power that clothing has, that you can control how you are perceived and what you communicate. Clothing is a language all of its own.
What made you take fashion more seriously and make a career out of it?
I also noticed the incredible clothing that the native people in Mexico wear, and I was excited by how amazingly well dressed they seemed in comparison to the majority of people in the streets of Mexico City. But when I listened to people talk about fashion in Mexico, they weren't aware of these amazing colors and garments. Rather, they had the belief that Mexicans didn't know how to dress and simply looked to the USA for inspiration.
Okay, so I think that covers question 2. What influenced Carla's desire to become a designer? She talks a lot about the differences, the comparisons of the people in the street of Mexico and people being unaware of Mexico's style and fashion sense. So I think that means that option A is the answer for the second question. So the contrast in Mexican people's style of clothing. She talked about comparisons specifically. But let's keep listening.
So I had the idea to try and create something I thought could be classed as Mexican fashion. I wanted to challenge these views.
Are you self-taught or did you study fashion design?
I wanted to take a fashion course in London, but it was too expensive for me. So I studied art history in Mexico because there were no real fashion courses at universities here at that time. After that, I went and studied fashion at a small institution called Ibero-Mexicana de Diseño, where the course was very hands-on and I learned how to design and make clothes. I was a fully capable dressmaker by the time I finished there. These 2 areas of study were both very useful for what I wanted to do with my own designs.
Okay, so there we covered off the next question. Why did she study in her native country? And she said right at the start, I wanted to study in London, but I couldn't afford it. It was too expensive. So B is the answer to 14, she says with confidence. She could not afford to study in London. Carry on.
What do you think of today's fashion?
I think people today seem willing to dress a little bit differently from one another. I definitely approve of young people today making more effort in the way they dress than young people did 10 years ago. People are getting tired of just wearing a t-shirt and jeans every day, and it's great to see people express themselves more in what they wear. As for me, I'm quite small, so I avoid long dresses or anything with big shoulders.
What advice would you give to you?
Okay, so there she talked a lot about, she's excited that people are basically paying more attention to what they wear. They're more interested in what they wear. They're making bolder choices. And so the option here, the answer here is people pay more attention to their clothing. She didn't say anything about practical clothing. The only thing she said about broad shoulders was that she wears broad shoulders because she's petite, I think. But yes, the answer is A, 15. A. Right, let's carry on.
Designers.
I've learned that as a fashion designer, you depend on many people to make things happen. So you need to assemble a group of people to do things well. Every day is a challenge, especially in a market like Mexico. So you need designers, great tailors, good administrators, accountants, good sales staff, people that contribute to the company, not just people who are there to make up the numbers. I must admit that talent and education are not enough to get to the top of the fashion world.
There you go. So she talks a lot about the members on her team being vital to the success of her business. And she said talent and education is not enough. So she already kind of wipes those answers out. And she talks a lot about teams. That's quite an easy one. Number 16 is C. Okay. Right. Let's move on to the next task. So task 4, now we have to read the text below and match the choices. So we've got a bunch of ads, basically, advertisements, and then we have to decide what they are, what they're selling, basically. So let's have a look at the first one. Hopefully you can see this quite clear. Let me zoom in a little bit more if I can. Oh, no, I can't. Can I? No, it doesn't let me. Okay. Hopefully you can see this, but I'll read it to you. It says, this one, number 17, says, special holiday package. Enjoy a fabulous Los Angeles holiday in our timeless luxury place near Beverly Hills. Save $40 per night, plus receive complimentary breakfast for 2. And it's called Angelino, and it gives an address, a phone number, and it's got a web address, hotelangelino.com. So it's a hotel, tells you there in the web address, hotel. It talks about being a holiday package, and it sounds like it's like a bed and breakfast because it offers complimentary breakfast. And it says, come and stay in have a holiday in our place. So let's see if we've got something that matches that. Is it a job vacancy? No. Is it accommodation? Yes, it's accommodation. It's not camping. It's not an online show. It's not healthcare or a telecom provider, education, or a rental company. It's not a rental company. It's a hotel. So it's accommodation. So the answer for 17 is B. 17, B. Okay. Then 18. Number 18 says, your wellness support. Your wellness is our priority. Our services, pharmacy, 24-hour care, diagnostic service, specialist doctors, blood tests, physicals. It says, call us now. And I can't quite see that. I can't quite see what that says on that web address, but it's like yourwebsite.com, I think it says. I need my eyes testing. Okay, so it talks about pharmacies and healthcare, doesn't it? Blood tests. So let's have a look which one it would be. We have job vacancy, camping, online show, healthcare. There we go, E. So 18 is E, healthcare. E. Right. Hopefully you're all with me. 19, it says, now hiring. We are hiring professional home improvement appointment setters for our Valley office call center. So they're hiring for people to work in their call center, full-time, part-time. It talks about hourly rates, phone skills must be professional. 1 year minimum telemarketing experience. So they're hiring. It's a job vacancy. Okay, so that's 19 is A. 19A. Okay. Right, next up, I'll read this one to you. Crew 89.9, guessing it's like a radio station. Morning becomes exciting. Hear relaxed live performances with your favorite bands or watch highlights from recent performances at www.kcwr.com. 9 a.m. weekdays. So it's some sort of online performance. It says you can hear and watch. So you can hear music, watch highlights from live performances. Recent guests include Two Door Cinema Club, and it has all these different people or bands listed with Jason Bentley. Okay, so that's some form of live performance or entertainment. So what have we got? Job vacancy, that's not available. Accommodation, that's done. Camping, no. An online show. Boom, that's the one. D, an online show. So 20 is D, an online show. Okay, 21. Let's have a look at this one. 2021. Summer is coming to CSUN. Spend the summer with CSUN on campus or online and be one step closer to reaching your academic goals. Okay, so there we have the word academic. That suggests to me education. Online registration opens now and it has these different sessions. And that's it. So yeah, we have two words here that point to the fact that it's education. We have the word campus, on campus. Campus is where like a university campus is where the university is located, and academic goals. So that one is education, which is G. So 21 is G. Okay, let's move on. I think we're doing okay. I think we've got this, guys. I think we've got it. All right, task 5 says, read the text below. For questions 21 to 26, choose the correct answer A, B, C, or D. Write your answer on a separate sheet. All right, so how best to do this? Do I read it to you and then we look at the questions, or? Yeah, okay. Let's read this then. All right. On Christmas Eve, 1971, just a few hours after attending her high school, 17-year-old Julianne Kopek, I can't pronounce that. I don't know how to pronounce that. I do apologize. Got on a flight from Lima, Peru to Pucallpa. Not familiar with that word either. That place. She was heading out to join her father, Hans Wilhelm, a famous German zoologist who was working at a remote research station in the rainforest. Okay, so I think what I'll do actually is go down to the questions, because we might cover the questions as I'm reading. So the first question here we might have already covered. Yeah, it says in paragraph 1. So which of the following is true of Julianne according to paragraph 1? Julianne wanted to be a zoologist after graduation. Julianne's father was a well-known scientist. Julianne was going to spend Christmas in Germany. Julianne's parents put her on a plane to Lima. Okay, did she want to be a zoologist after graduation? Let's read it again. She got on a flight to Lima. She headed out to join her father, a famous German zoologist who was working at a remote research station in the rainforest. So it says her father's a zoologist, but it doesn't say anything about her desires to be a zoologist. So I don't think it's answer A. I think it's answer B, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Juliana was going to spend Christmas in Germany. and her parents put her on a plane to Lima. Let's have a look at this. So was she going to spend Christmas in Germany? It's Christmas Eve now, and she's just got on a flight to Peru. So I don't think she's going to spend Christmas in Germany. And it said one answer option was her parents put her on a flight to Peru, but actually she was heading to join her father. So her parents, plural, could not have put her on a flight because her father is at the other end. So that brings us back to the second answer, which is Juliana's father was a well-known scientist. Now, it doesn't say the word scientist here, but it does say that he was a famous, which is another word for well-known, zoologist. And a zoologist is just a type of scientist. It's a scientist who studies animals, basically. So B is the answer to the first question. So question 22, B. Let me write this down, 22, B. Right, the second question is, how did Julianne's, I hope I'm saying that right, how did Julianne's father help her to survive in the rainforest? He taught her how to find the way in the jungle. He told her about poisonous frogs. He showed her how to treat various wounds, and he trained her to use a motorboat. Okay. Let's, hopefully this will be in the next paragraph. So let's just go up and read the next paragraph and see if it's covered. So I hope you can read this. Approximately 30 minutes into the flight, the plane flew into a storm with thunder and lightning. Oh no. The right wing motor was hit by lightning and the aircraft broke apart in the air. Still strapped to her seat, Julianne was ejected from the aircraft and fell approximately 2 miles, oh my goodness, into the dense Peruvian rainforest. That's horrendous. She was lying on the ground, dressed in only a sleeveless mini dress, and was missing one of her sandals and her glasses. It took Julianne half the day just to be able to stand, but eventually she managed it and set out to find help. During her search, she found a bag of candy and, more significantly, a stream. Her father had once given her advice that if you were ever lost in the rainforest and come across a stream or river, she should follow it downstream because people tend to live on or near water. I mean, firstly, what a horrendous story. This poor girl has been ejected out of an aircraft and fallen 2 miles to the earth. Is now stuck in the middle of a rainforest without her glasses, with only one sandal and a tiny little item of clothing. It sounds awful. Okay, so the question was, what did her father teach her about survival in the rainforest? He taught her how to find her way in the jungle. I think it's that one. He taught her about poisonous frogs. We didn't hear anything about frogs. He showed her how to treat various wounds. No, we haven't heard about wounds. He trained her how to use a motorboat. No, nothing like that was mentioned. So he taught her how to find her way in the jungle using water. Follow the water. So 23, the answer is A. Yeah. Okay, 24. The question here is, let me show you. Why did Julianne decide to spend the night by the riverside? She wasn't strong enough to walk up the path. She was afraid of meeting the house owners. She couldn't sleep comfortably in the house, or she wanted to wait for people near the boat. Okay, let's read the next paragraph. Here we go. Ooh. Julianne then set off. She walked as much as possible in the river as it was the easiest way to go, rather than through the dense jungle. On the 10th day, she came across a boat, which at first she thought was a mirage, until she finally came up to it and touched it. Next to the boat was a path, which she could hardly crawl up. At the end of the path was a small hut, where Julianne found an outboard motor and some diesel fuel in a barrel. She tried to sleep in the hut, but found the ground to be much too hard, so she went back down to the riverside and lay down in the sand. So there's your answer. She found the ground to be much too hard. So the answer is, why did she sleep by the riverside? She couldn't sleep comfortably in the house. So 24, the answer is C. Okay, 25, the question. What did the three people think when they met Julianne? She was going to steal their boat. She was lying about the plane crash. Plane crash. She was a supernatural creature. She was able to travel on her own. Okay, so let's find out what they thought. Here we go. So this is where we're starting. The next day, Julianne woke up and hearing frogs all around her, tried to catch some to eat. Luckily for her, she was unable to, as they were poisonous dart frogs. She soon heard voices. 3 people came out of the forest and spotted her. At first, they thought she was a Yemenya, a blood, pale-skinned water spirit. Okay. When they saw her, they were pretty frightened. However, she explained what had happened and how she had got there, and they had heard of the plane crash, so accepted her story. They then fed her and cared for her wounds as best they could and took her downstream to a village. A local pilot knew of some missionaries nearby running a hospital in Pucallpa, where she got after a 15-minute fearful flight, and where the day after Julianne's rescue, she was reunited with her father. Okay, so this is the answer to the question. I've highlighted it here. At first, they thought she was a Yemenya, a blood pale-skinned water spirit. So they thought she was a supernatural creature. So 25, the answer is C. C. Okay. The next question is, which of the following is stated in the text about Julianne's life after the crash? She graduated from a Peruvian university. She directed a documentary about her survival. She played herself in a German fictional film. She got an award for her autobiographical story. Autobiographical story. So which of those is true? Listen to this final statement. Final paragraph. Julianne moved to Germany, where she fully recovered from her injuries. Like her parents, she studied biology at university. She went to Peru in the early 80s to study the area's native bats. In 1998, she returned to the site of the crash for the documentary Wings of Hope, about her incredible story that was made for German television by Werner Herzog. This trip inspired her to tell a tale of her remarkable survival in a book called When I Fell from the Sky, for which she received the Korean Literature Prize in 2011. Kopek's experience is also the subject of a feature-length fictional film. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what we've got mentioned there is documentary and a book that she wrote and a feature-length film. So let's have a look at those answers again. Tricky. Which is true? She graduated from Peruvian university. No, I think she graduated from a German university, didn't she? Yeah, I think she graduated from university in Germany. She directed a documentary. I don't think she directed it. She just was in it. It said she returned for the documentary about her story. And it wasn't by her, so she didn't direct it. So it's not that one. Let's have a look at the other options. She played herself in the German fictional film. No, it just says that her experience is the subject of a feature-length film. So her experience is not her. So not actually her playing it. And she got an award for her autobiographical story. Yes, she did win a prize for her book called When I Fell from the Sky. Ka-ching, we worked it out. Okay, so it's D, 26. That was a tough one. That was a bit tricky, that last one. Really rule everything out. Pay close attention to the details. Okay, I am running out of time. How much more do we have? Oh my goodness. All right, okay. My nanny is only available for another 15 minutes, so I have to rush through this test. Okay, so we have, read the text below. Match choices A and H to 27 and 32. There are two choices you do not need to use. Okay, write your answers on a separate sheet. Okay, so we've got all these different apps. Try these Facebook apps for friendship, fun, and more. So it's a description of 6 Facebook apps. And then you've got options. These Facebook applications will allow you to record your own song, upgrade the existing application, share your plans with the friends, let others access your favorites, contribute to saving nature, create something collectively, discover unexpected ties to your fellows, and enjoy yourself training your brain. Okay, so let's have a look. What's A? The first one, my music. My music reads, have you ever wanted to share your entire iTunes library with your Facebook friends? Tag Shine's My Music application lets you do just that. Do what? Share your library with your friends. And it shows your Facebook friends what songs you've listened to most recently and what playlists you've created. This app also lets you watch music videos for more than 6 million songs and create a personal library of artists you like. So let's have a look. What does this app let you do? Record your own songs? No. Upgrade? No, it didn't say anything about upgrading. Share your plans with your friends? That says share your plans. Let others access your favorites. Could be. Contribute to saving nature? No. Create something collectively? No. Discover unexpected ties? No. Training your brain? No. So it must be D, because it says it lets your friends see what you've listened to recently, what you like, and your playlists. So 27, I say, is D. Okay, 28. This one is called Birthday Cards. The Birthday Cards application by RockYou has tons of free features that help you stay in touch with friends and remember their birthdays. So in touch with friends, remember the birthdays. You can design custom greetings cards for any of your friends on Facebook, or you can team up with your friends to design cards. The application sends you a reminder when a friend's birthday is coming up and lets you build a calendar of friends' birthdays and other special events such as parties and holiday events. So I think this is the key to team up with your friends. So does it let you record songs? No. Upgrade? No. Share plans? No. Access favorites? No. Save nature? No. Work collectively. Create something collectively like a card. So the answer is F, to create a card collectively. 28 is F. Okay, next, circle of friends. And this reads, maybe your summer camp friends in Canada are distant cousins of your best friend from school. Perhaps your stepbrother is a friend with your friend's sister. Banter's Circle of Friends app helps you find out how your friends are connected and may surprise you. So I think this is the key. Let's have a look through. Discover unexpected ties of your fellows is the answer. So G is the answer to 29. 29 is G. Okay, next we have the app Scramble. And it says, can you see it there? Yeah. Everybody needs a break. Everybody needs a break every now and again. Scramble's a great way to take one. This word game by Zanga sharpens your mind by challenging you to find words in a jumbled grid, sort of like the board game Boggle. You can invite your friends to play it with you online too. So we have training your brain, basically, I think is the answer. Let's have a look at those options again. Enjoy yourself, training your brain is the last option there. So let's use that one. So H is the answer to scramble, 30. H. Then we have Sea Garden. There are several fun Facebook apps that raise money for environmental causes each time you use them. Sea Garden is one of them. With this app, you build a little reef of sea creatures and ocean plants and send goodies such as squid, fish, and octopuses to your friends. Each time you send a sea creature to a friend, the company that designed the app donates money to groups such as the Surfride Foundation, a charity that works to protect oceans and beaches worldwide. Okay, so I think that was quite simple as well. It contributes to saving nature. E, and that's 31. 31. E. Okay, I hope you're all enjoying this still. We've had a few drop-offs. We've had quite a few drop-offs, but it's quite a long test. All right, so the last one is 32, advanced wall, and this reads, I'll just make sure you can see it. This reads, take your Facebook wall to a new level with Advanced Wall by Idle Studios. This effective Facebook app lets you post images, videos, and flash, as well as make art, write graffiti, and monkey with the color and size of text using a simple editing feature. Okay, so does it let you record your own song? No. Does it let you upgrade? No. Share plans with friends? No. Access your favorites? No. Save in nature? No. What option do we have here? What? Hang on a minute. 35 lets you post videos. Hey, what? I'm stumped. Hang on. I need to read these again. Can anyone help me out here? Record your own song. No. It lets you write graffiti, post images, videos, and flash, as well as make art. So you're not doing something with your friends. You're not recording your own song. It doesn't say anything about upgrading. Oh, it does. It does. Okay, so look again. Let's look again. I was nearly stumped then. Take your Facebook wall to a new level with Advanced Wall. So it says upgrade the existing application. That's the trick. Okay. I was a bit panicked then. I started sweating. Okay, so it's B. It's B. Oh, that was tricky. That was tricky. Okay, the next task. Let me just double check that my partner can take the babies while my childminder leaves. I'm sure he'll come and talk to me, actually. I'll carry on, and when he comes and gives me the look, then I'll say, oh, you do it. Okay, so here we have to read the text, and we have to choose from A to H which one fits best in the space. So we basically have to fill in the blanks in each one of these. So it says here, global protesters demand renewable energy by 2050. And it says, last Sunday, more than 70,000 people travelled from all over the UK to take part in a massive demonstration in London, demanding that Prime Minister and other delegates come back with a positive, strong deal. Okay, so which one is it? So it's demanding that Prime Minister and other delegates something. Prime Minister and other delegates finding out? No. So I always look at the first couple of words in the sentence to see if it matches. So is it in the right tense? Does it follow on naturally? So Prime Minister and other delegates finding out, no. To come together, demanding the Prime Minister and other delegates to come, no. Demanding that delegates that took place, no. Delegates that walked, no. Demand and other delegates traveling to the Paris Climate Change Conference this week. Oh, it could be that one, because that works. Demanding that Prime Minister and other delegates traveling to Paris Climate Change Conference this week come back with a positive, strong deal. And the others don't work. Demanding they mobilized, no. Demanding to keep, demanding played. It just doesn't work. The tenses don't work. So demanding that the Prime Minister and other delegates traveling to the Paris Climate Change Conference this week come back with a positive, strong deal. So E is the answer for 33. Then we move on. Members of different environmental organizations and various individual activists traveled to London. Finding doesn't work. To come together and make their voices heard, that would work. Traveled to London that took place, no, that doesn't work. Traveled to London that walked, no. Traveled to London mobilized from different countries and cultures, no. Traveled to London to keep all fossil fuels in the ground, that would work, but doesn't make sense. Traveled to London played, no, that doesn't work. Okay, so I think it must be to come together and make their voices heard. So these organizations and individuals have traveled to London to come together and make their voices heard. So that's 34 is B. B. Okay. I am just going to have to take 2 seconds to let my partner know he has to take over. So just hold on a minute. I'll put this on screen for you so you can see it. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Still streaming. Can you just hold the babies for 15? Okay, I'm coming back. Oh, okay. Whew. Here we go. The next one. Protesters wore costumes such as polar bear and giraffe outfits, something else, and everyone carried a placard to make sure they were seen and heard by Westminster. So it has to be something that fits in that list. They wore costumes such as polar bears and giraffe outfits, something else, and they carried placards. So what could fit? Let's have a look. This one. So they wore costumes, they played instruments or spun discs, and everyone carried a placard. So that fits with the list of describing the crowd. Okay. So number 35 is H. Describing the crowd. Oh, 35 H. Okay, what's next? This didn't just happen in London. It was the largest climate mobilization in history. The global demonstration consisted of 2,300 other events. Something. In total, over 785,000 people, something. Okay, so we're talking about this being the largest mobilization in history. The global demonstration consisted of 2,300 other events. What's the answer there? Other events that took place simultaneous in 175,000 countries? That would work, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'm going to say that. So the global demonstration consisted of 2,300 other events that took place simultaneously in 175 countries. Yeah, that makes sense. That finishes off that sentence nicely. 36 is C. And then we have, in total, over 785,000 people something. Just over 5,000 people. Finding out? No. To come? No. Traveling? No. That walked? No. Mobilized? That works. In total, over 785,000 people mobilized from different countries and cultures. Brilliant. Okay, so that's 37 is F. Their demands were unanimous. World leaders must give a promise, and then what they promised, I don't know, and make a 100% transition to renewable energy by 2050. So the last one must be this one. Must give a promise to keep all fossil fuels in the ground. So that makes 38G. 38G. Yay! Oh, gosh. This is hard, guys. This is hard. How are you finding it? All right. Let's carry on through. Here's another one, but here it gives you multiple choice on the answers. So read the text below. Let's have a look. I'm going to fill in the blanks. So for each blank, you've got 4 options, you see. So the first one is number 39. I was looking out of the airport window, thinking of a farewell with my friend at the camp gates. We had promised to something again, already knowing that it would be unlikely. So we had promised to meet again. We had promised to see again. We had promised to look again, or we had promised to go again. So all of them would fit, but only one of them is right. And the answer here is meet. We had promised to meet again. This reminds me of an old song. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again. Yeah, it's an old wartime song by Vera Lynn. So to meet again, even though they know it's unlikely. Now, you couldn't have the other ones. We promised to see again. See what? It doesn't say what. We promised to see each other again. That would work, but that's not an option. We promised to look again. Again, look at what? We promised to look at each other again. We promised to look at a film together. It doesn't say anything additional, so that doesn't work either. We promised to go again. That would work if it told you a place. But it's not really telling you a place, because you could say, I was in Barbados with my friend. Now we've promised to go again, but they don't talk about a place. They talk about each other, missing each other, and the fact that they're sad they won't see each other again. So it's not any of the other options, it's meet. As I waited, let me carry on here. As I waited to something, the plane, I heard the announcement that my something was being delayed by an hour. So here you have to know your airport vocabulary. As I waited to seat, sit, board, land. As I waited to board the plane. Because she's not on yet, is she? Because she's looking out of the airport window, not out of the plane window. So she's not on the plane yet, so the answer is board. As I waited to board the plane, I heard the announcement that my voyage, trip, tour, flight was being delayed. Voyage is for a boat. A trip wouldn't be delayed if you're just at the airport as such. A tour, no, it's not a tour. It's an aeroplane flight. So the flight's being delayed. Okay, so C is the answer to 40 and D is 41. 40 is C. Just making a note for myself so I can check my answers later. 41 is D. Okay, next. It says, my heart was heavy. I was already something, my friend. I was already lacking, my friend, missing, my friend, boring, my friend, departing, my friend. Okay, so it can't be lacking. You don't lack a person. You do miss a person, though. You can bore a person, but her friend's not there to be bored. So she can't be boring her friend because her friend's not there. And you depart a place. You don't depart a person. So she would depart the airport. She would depart the country, but she would leave her friend and she would miss her friend. So the answer to 42 is B. And the final one is, I can never say this word, melancholia, she's melancholy. A figure appeared before my eyes. Could it be? It was my friend with whom I had parted earlier, then, later, sooner. And the answer here, without going into too much detail, is earlier. They had parted earlier. 43 is A. Hopefully you've all been following and getting the same answers as me. Unless I'm wrong. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, we have another multiple choice. Fill in the blanks. Here we go. Tallest Lego tower. Hungary was something to set a new world record by building the highest Lego tower ever. So Hungary has coped, Hungary has succeeded, Hungary has established, or Hungary has managed. And it would be managed to set. Hungary has managed to set. We wouldn't say succeed to set. You succeed at something. Established is not the common verb used when talking about setting records. You manage to set, or you're able to set. So the answer here is managed. 44 is D. And then we've got question 45. With several school children taking something, construction of the 36-meter Lego tower began on Wednesday. Taking part, taking place, taking role, taking time. So you don't say taking role, you'd say taking a role, so that doesn't work. You can say taking time. It's taking time. It's taking a bit of time. It's taking a lot of time. But it's odd to say taking time. And the children don't. With several children taking time, it talks about it beginning on Wednesday. So it just doesn't work. Time doesn't work there. With several children taking place, no. An event takes place. People don't take place. An event happens. Take place means happen. Take part, that's our answer. Take part means to get involved. So with several school children taking part, construction of the 36-meter Lego tower began on Wednesday. So 45 is A, taking part. Let me bring this up closer for you again. Next. The aim was something. The current US record of 34.43 meters. So the aim was to set, to hold, to break, or to reach. Now, this one had me a little bit confused, actually. The aim was to set the current US record. No, you can't set a current record. The current record is already set, so you can't set it. The aim was to hold the current record. You could hold it, but someone else already holds it, so you'd have to break it, is the answer. So to break a record is to go through it, or you could say to reach a record. The aim was to reach a record. You could say that, but we know that they've already broken the record. They've gone to 36 meters. It says that earlier. And whoever really wants to reach, you always want to break. And it says in the first sentence, they want to set a new world record, a new record. So they want to go beyond the current record to set a new one. So therefore, they want to break the current world record. Okay, so 46 is C. 46C. All right. Who's still with me? 49 of you are hanging on in there. You've been with me for over an hour. Oh, 52. Fantastic. Hello. You're all doing so well. Okay, let's carry on. Officials from the Guinness World Record Company arrived in Budapest on Saturday to verify the record. The mayor of the city's 5th district hoped the record would support, promote, encourage, or take Budapest to the world. So you can't take a place to the world. The place just exists where it is, so take isn't right. You can't encourage a place to the world. That doesn't make sense. You can promote a place to the world and support a place. You can support a place, but you can't support a place to the world. And that's the crucial bit, to the world. We're basically showing, promoting, highlighting. So promote here is the right word. 47. Promote B. Let's do the last one on this task. Exciting. This modern obelisk. I don't know what that word means. Who knows? If you know, tell me what obelisk means. This modern obelisk shows how we call something to the fact that this is one of the most beautiful squares in Budapest. So the question here is what's going to fill this blank? Acknowledgement, consideration, attention, or highlight. This modern something, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right, obelisk, shows how we acknowledgement. No, we don't acknowledgement. How we call acknowledgement to the fact that this is one of the most, no. How we call consideration to the fact, how we call attention to the fact, or how we call highlight to the fact. The answer here is attention. You call attention to something. You bring attention or you call attention. So it shows how we call attention to the fact that this is one of the most beautiful squares in Budapest. Okay. Okay, I'm just being told here what this is. Obelisk. Obelisk, a tall pointed stone pillar built to remind people of an event of someone who has died. Okay, so like a monument. Okay, lovely. So those who are doing the quiz, it's not quiz, the test, 48 is C. Let's scroll down, see what's next. Ah, another one. Okay. Why do we sleep? So why do we sleep? This is a question that scientists for centuries, and the answer is no one, something really sure. So first one, this is a question that puzzles scientists for centuries. And it doesn't work because we have the time phrase in there. This is a question that puzzles scientists would work, but because you go on to say 4 centuries, it doesn't work. Has puzzled scientists for centuries would work. That puzzled scientists for centuries. It's a question that puzzles scientists for centuries would work if they've now got the answer, because that's in the past tense. So if it did before but not anymore, then that could work, but we have to find out from the rest of the sentence. Or had puzzled scientists for centuries. It's a question that had puzzled. Yeah, that could work too if, again, they have now resolved. But reading the rest of the sentence, and the answer is no one, something really sure. So we know from the rest of the sentence that it still puzzles them. So the answer is it has puzzled them for centuries, and it continues to. It started in the past and it continues to puzzle them now. So 49 is B. 49 B. Oh, my voice. I haven't spoken for this long for such a long time. My voice is getting a bit tired. Okay. Have some cold tea. That will always make it better. Okay. The answer is no one, something really sure. No one isn't really sure. You can't have double negative in a sentence, so it's not that one. No one are sure. No one are really sure. Can't be that because we're using the word one, so we're grouping everyone together as a singular. So you can't be are sure. No one are really sure. No one aren't sure. Again, that's negative. No one is really sure. That's your answer. 50. D. No one is really sure. Some believe that sleep gives the body a chance to something from the day's activities, but in reality, the amount of energy saved by sleeping for even 8 hours is minimal, and the same amount of energy in a piece of toast. So some believe that sleep gives the body a chance to recover, recovering, recover, recovers. So here, I'm just going to give you the answer. It needs to be to recover, a chance to. Always you give someone a chance. If you're going to carry on and say what you're giving them a chance for, you add to. It goes into the infinitive. A chance to explain, a chance to get a head start, a chance to rest, a chance to catch up. We always use chance followed by infinitive, I think. Okay, so 51, the answer is A. Chance to recover from the day's activities. Moving down to the second part. We something to sleep because it's essential to maintaining normal levels of cognitive skills like speech, memory, innovative and flexible thinking. We can to sleep. No, you wouldn't use can to. You can to, no. We should to, again, you don't use, we'd say we should sleep, you wouldn't use to. We ought to sleep, that could be right. We must to sleep. No, you wouldn't use must with to. Okay, so the answer here is ought to. We always say ought to. You ought to phone your mother when you're going to be late home. You ought to do your homework. You ought to sleep. So ought to is just another way of saying you must, you should. It's beneficial if you do. 52 is C. Hope you're finding this helpful, guys. Hope the way I've set this up works for you. Final blank to fill in here is at the bottom. In something words, sleep plays a significant role in brain development. In another words, no, another would be used with a singular. In the other words, no. In other words, in others words, hang on a minute, I'm a bit confused now. Oh, right, yes, okay. So the phrase is in other words. In other words, it's a phrase that we use to make our point. So if you've said a lot and you want to summarize and make your points, you can use the phrase in other words. Sorry if I made that confusing. In other words. In other words, the answer is D to 53. Next. It's another multiple choice. How many more do we have? Okay, this is the last one. Oh, thank goodness. All right, so the last one, guys. Internet sensation. In the Philippines, 2-year-old Zishi Garcia has become an internet sensation. On Facebook, a single post of her, something, a cheerleading routine, has received more than 29,000 views and 433 shares. So a single post of her performing a routine, performance a routine, performed a routine, or performer a routine. So it's not D because that's a noun. We need a verb. Performance doesn't work. Performed doesn't work. Performing does work because, yeah, we need it in continuous. A single post of her performing a cheerleading routine. 54. 54 is answer A. All right, the next. The young something parents said they started teaching her how to balance before she something won. Let's just go that far. The young cheerleader, the young cheerleaders. See what they're doing here. The young cheerleaders with an apostrophe before the S, or young cheerleaders with apostrophe after the S. Okay, so it's one person we're talking about. So you could think, oh, I'll go with A. But the young cheerleader parents. So we're actually talking about this singular person's parents. So we need a possessive S. And the possessive S is this one with the apostrophe before the S. The apostrophe after the S suggests that it's possessive of multiple cheerleaders. So there might be 3 cheerleaders and their parents. Then you'd say the cheerleader's parents with the apostrophe after the S because it refers to more than one cheerleader. But here, because it's possessive and it's just one person, we use this one. The young cheerleader's parents say they started teaching her how to balance before she has turned, no, turns, was turned, turned. It's very simple past, before she turned 1. So D is the answer to the second. So 55, the answer is C. And 56, the answer is D. Next. And here we are. And we're surprised at how easily she followed instructions. The way we train her is to make it seem like playing. She listens, she's something, and she really enjoys it. Sorry for the silly voice. Okay, so she listens, she is amusing, she is amused, she has amused, she amuses. So we're talking about her and her enjoyment. So she listens, she is amused. I think it would be here because it's saying she's listening to the music. Is that what we're saying? Train her? The way we train her is to make it like playing. She listens, she's amused, she really enjoys it. If she something, we wouldn't do it. Yeah, because she is amusing means that she's entertaining to other people. She has amused. That doesn't make sense. That tense doesn't make sense here. She amuses, again, she amuses what? She amuses, you'd need someone in there. She amuses us. She amuses others. So you can't just have amuses there on its own. So she is amused, I think is the answer. 57. 57B. And then the final part here is, if she something it, we wouldn't do it, and she wouldn't be able to perform those stunts. So if she, let's look at the options. If she wouldn't enjoy, if she won't enjoy, if she doesn't enjoy, if she didn't enjoy. Okay, so here the answer is D. If she didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't do it, and she wouldn't be able to perform those stunts. This one is a tricky one. I'm imagining lots of people found that particular one tough. But that is the right answer. Okay. Right. So after that, we go down and it comes to a writing exercise. Now, I'm not going to do this one. I was going to, but I'm not going to now because my childminder has gone and my partner is looking after the 2 children. I think he needs my help. So I'm going to go and be a mum. But I'm just going to walk you through the instructions for the writing exercise and just give you a few little thoughts on what I do. I've got quite a red cheek here. I think, you know, when you put blusher on and you don't brush it off first. I don't normally wear blusher, but I thought I'd give it a go and I slapped it on. It's made that cheek really red and I can't make it go away. Okay, so enough about my makeup faux pas. here the instructions are, you've got to write you've got a letter. So you've received a letter from your English friend in which she writes about their achievements in chemistry. Write a letter to your friend in which you tell them what your favorite subjects were at school and what your teachers did to make the lesson interesting. How the knowledge of those subjects may influence your future career and why. Give some pieces of advice on how to arrange your timetable to be good at studies. Write a letter of at least 150 words. Do not write your own name, dates, or personal information. And start the letter in an appropriate way. So with this, you should always follow the instructions, try to do it in order. It says you've got a letter from your English friend. So that's important. It's a friend. So that informs the tone of the letter. And it talks about what they say in their letter. They talk about their achievements in chemistry. So the first thing you should do is write an opening. So you can, as a friend, write hi, you give them a name. Hi, Ken, or hi, Fred, or hi, Julia. We use first names when it's a friend. We wouldn't say hi, Mrs. Smith, because that's not informal. That's a very formal way to write to someone. So you say hi, first name. And you could say dear. I would write a letter as dear. When my friends have birthdays, I write dear Kate or dear Charlie. So you could write dear, first name, or hi, first name. And then you would write an opening sentence about being that you received their letter and being proud of them or pleased for them. Something that acknowledges what they wrote to you. And then that would lead you on to saying something about the first point, which is your favorite subjects at school and what the teachers did to make the lesson interesting. So you could say, talking about chemistry reminds me of my days at school, or this reminds me of, or I remember back at school. Those are different options for opening a sentence about school. Often in letters, you want to kind of structure an opening, a middle, and an end. And you could do this with markers like firstly, secondly, thirdly. But that is quite formal. So using phrases like I remember when, or that reminds me of a time, I think in this instance would be useful. What your favorite subjects were at school and what your teachers did to make the lessons interesting. Okay, so that comes down to personal preference. You talk about how the knowledge of those subjects may influence your future career. So, and then obviously you want to make sure you're in the right tense, talking in future tense. And then it says to give pieces of advice on how to arrange your timetable. How would you give a piece of advice? You could say phrases like, if I were you, you could relate to your own experience and say, one thing I wish I knew, one thing I wish I had known when I was at school was how to organize my time. If I could give you a little bit of advice, so often being indirect with advice is also helpful. So it's saying, if I can give you a little advice, if you want some advice, that's a way to make it indirect, nice and friendly. And then you say the advice. And then you'd sign off with all the best, look forward to hearing from you, or that's all for now. Maybe you'd say why you're finishing the letter. Okay, I've got to go and finish my job application, something like that. And if at the beginning you've done the structure where you've done a comma, so hi Fred, dear Fred, comma, then at the end you'd put a comma after your little sign off statement. So best wishes, comma, or hope to hear from you soon, comma, and then your name, first name, Anna. Okay, so that's what I would have done with my letter along those kind of lines. I hope you found this interesting. I would love to know what you scored on your test. Very quickly, I'm going to run through the answers and compare them to my answers. So let me just see if I can share these answers on screen. Oh, maybe I can't. Can I? No, maybe I can't. Okay. Do you know what? I'm going to top my answers up and I'm going to put them in the comments so you don't have to sit here and watch me go through all the answers, because that would be really dull. And this has already been an hour and a half. And my babies need me. So thank you so much for joining me. It's been wonderful having you here. There's been about 40 or 50 of you that stuck the whole lesson, which is amazing. Please make sure you give this a thumb up, subscribe. I've got a YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and I also have a website where I offer courses. So if you would like to, oh no, not that one. If you'd like to take a course with me, then the website is there available for you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Best of luck with getting your results from your test, and see you all again soon.